with you, and another reboot, part 2 of Battleship. This game, I have already created it, and I wanted to be able to put out a new version of it because I've done so many changes. It requires, I think, a whole new video to be able to go along with this because a couple different sort of updates and how the game is played. I still think the general gameplay, if you've seen this before, is the same, but the tools in which they're using are considerably different. So I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are excited about it as well too. Put this thing on 2x speed. You're gonna want to be able to open up the tools on this thing and check it out, folks. I'm excited. Hope you're excited. Let's play ourselves a little thing called Battleship. Hey, that's right, everybody. The game Battleship. I've done this before, and if you've seen it, right, we all know Battleship, and the idea basically was this, is that the game itself is sort of a clamshell kind of a game. You've all seen it, and you all know it, but you know what, though? This got me thinking of I'm trying to redefine and change a lot of the games that I'm doing, breaking up with the idea of one screen up and everybody else follows along. You do it in tons of different games and all that sort of stuff. But what if this is a little clamshell game board, can this also be this thing right here, right? A Chromebook. Like, hey, look at that. It looks a lot and acts that way. The same idea. And so this got me thinking, can basically the Chromebook itself be a game board? So that's the big difference in all of this. What you're going to be thinking is there's two types of ways that the kids are going to see media or whatever screens. This is a screen that they're going to have in front of them playing as a game board. Then you as a teacher are going to have the questions that you're going to display a different way. You can do it any way that you want. I've got some templates that you can be able to use. You could just read the questions out loud, do whatever you want. But basically the screen up in the front of the class is where I provide the questions and answers. The kids then are going to be able to use this to be able to play the game Battleship. And the essence is basically, that's got a lot to be able to share with the details and click here, but basically it's this. If you answer a question correct, you get a shot. That's it, okay? I got one right, you got one right. So hey, A7, did you get one right? Yep. B9, next. That's it. Besides all the other stuff, just keep that in mind, is that you answer a question right and you get an attack. So let's jump into the thing. What are some of the details on the thing? Well, how do I be able to turn this into a Chrome, into a playable thing? What I first came up with is the idea about, can I have this as a Google slide document? And it worked. It was a little bit janky and you had to be able to change some things. But what I want you to check out, folks, is here. What I've done now with this magic of a thing called vibe coding is that I have now designed and coded a Battleship game experience that lives on the browser, lives in Chrome. And what's wonderful about this is that this is not specific to any tool. So you need slides or PowerPoint, none of it. It's just a link and it all works. A lot of my games have some real sort of heavy programming that works really kind of good in PowerPoint, but PowerPoint's got some issues. What version do I have? Do I got the web-based version? Hey, I have Google Slides. Good luck if you got Google Slides. So there's always dependent on what tool that you're using. So I'm trying to pivot so many of my games to basically say, you don't need that anymore. Just use a website. So you got to be able to push this to your kids, and you could be able to do it a bunch of different ways. QR code, Google Classroom, whatever. But you got a link. Give the kids this link, and now they have that. So then you're going to be able to have, if I'm going to be competing against you, we're both going to need a device, and we're both going to be able to need a link in which to be able to for us to be able to play. Now, you could do a one-on-one matchup, but like a lot of my games, what I really kind of like this idea is, can I be able to help out a little bit? So if you take a look at this, I like the idea of playing in pairs. So what I mean by pairs is that you're going to have two people who are going to be on the same team, and they're going to be competing against somebody else. That means in this group of 4, you're only going to need 2 Chromebooks, and one group on the left is going to be competing against somebody on the right for a bunch of different reasons. The biggest one is that if we're going to be asking questions, they can collaborate a little bit on the questions and allow for a little bit more success within that. Also, who knows if there's going to be some struggles and who knows what to do, but if I'm working with a pair with somebody, it's easy for us to be able to manage, maintain that. I think it also lessens the number of groups that you have in the class, makes it a little bit more manageable. So this is what you're going to be able to do, is you need to be able to get the class situated into these different pairs. Now you could ultimately you could have a group of 3 versus 2 or 1 versus 2. It's not really dependent on any. So it's really kind of a nice and fluid thing. Like I said, you could break everybody up in a one-on-one, but basically you need to have a head-to-head match kind of a thing. Now, you do need a Chromebook, but if you look at the image as well too, one person is going to need to be able to have a Chromebook. And then the other thing is, where do you do your answers? I'm really digging this idea, really technical thing called paper, okay? Why I'm really enjoying using paper is that the idea that, why do we need a device? Only have devices for reasons. And I'm a huge techie guy and big ed tech advocate, but I think more and more we're just having devices for no reason. All we need to be able to do is find out if the kid's got the right answer, right or wrong, because it's going to earn them a shot for the game. So why do we need to keep that in someplace else when we can just literally do it with a piece of paper? You could just, hey everybody, pull out a blank piece of paper. But I have created a worksheet, 2 parts, an answer sheet and a scoring guide that can kind of help your students a little bit. That I'm going to show you in a second. But basically, that's what you're going to need as you set up the class and where they're going to be. I did a little mock-up artwork here so you can be able to see how you can kind of facilitate this. So you can see here, I have these different pods or groups, and the kids are paired up. And you can see generally it's 2 on 2, but in the back left corner, there's an area that you can see one person playing against a group of 2. So it can be dependent on all these different sort of it's not dependent on one way or another. It can be very open. And in each of those different pods, you have one pair. Each pair has a Chromebook, and each pair also has a piece of paper to be able to keep track of that. The nice part for you, then, you as a teacher, your job then is, I'm going to be in this particular spot. I'm going to be in the middle of the room, walking around and facilitating. And there'll be 2 parts to the game. The first part of the game is you're going to have them. You'll ask them questions. They're going to write down their answers. Okay, and then after they write it, that's the first part, write down their answers, and then when they're done, they're going to take these answers and equate them into doing their shots. So the nice part is that for part of the game, I'm involved. I'm giving the questions. Hey, everybody, questions, answer. Then when I'm done, then they play Battleship, and I just walk around, and I'm in the room sort of facilitating and watching kind of what's happening. And so unlike a lot of games, where it's all really basically, so many people are having these games out there that they're basically just quizzes, right? They're just, hey, just testing what you know. And then guess what the next thing is? It's another question like, where's the luck? Where's the fun? Where's the strategy? It seems like there's none of that in these games. They're just, next question. Okay, either who's fastest or whatever. But anyway, this gives me some actual real gameplay. So a lot of my games, I like to balance that. How well do I answer some questions? That helps me in the game itself. It's very much like Price is Right, or if you've ever seen the show Survivor. Like if you ever watched Survivor, their challenge is like, hey, I do a lot of these steps before the final puzzle, and then the final puzzle could be a great equalizer because the other things just gave me a slight advantage, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to win or lose. And so I like to balance that in so many of my games. Anyway, let me get off my soapbox here and explain a little bit what this is. So you do questions first and then do the firing. But now you could do it a couple different ways. Do I ask one question, they answer it correctly, and then they fire? Or do I ask let's say if I'm going to do 30 questions, do I do 30 questions in a row and then they just go and shoot for a while? You could do any of those. I pick something in between. And it works well. I've done this a few times and I've had a couple other people do it and they like it. I do 5. I'm going to do every 5 questions. I'm going to do question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Or you can do 5 questions and 5 answers. Anyway, I'm going to do 5 of them. And then after those 5, then it's time for you to go shoot. That gives me a balance of question, and then play. A little mix it up a little bit. Feel free to do it, change it up on your own. But that's kind of how I designed. If you take a look at, and you can look along with me here too, look at the scoreboard that I made. So I printed out this piece of paper that you could be able to print out for your kids. I like the idea about go front and back, and I'll talk about the 2 different pieces of it. But on this one here is I have 6 different squares, and that's 5 at a time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And you can see here, you print these out and they can just answer them. The kind of questions are nice. It's anything that you want. It could be multiple choice, true, false, matching, who knows, whatever it is. But it's basically a question that they need to be able to write down the answer to. What I have here, as you can see, is that once they're going to do the questions, and then you go over the answers with them, and they need to now grade themselves and show each other their answers to make sure everybody's on the up and up, but basically about if they got the answer correct right or if they got the answer wrong. All right, but where do I give the questions? So like I said, you could do it different ways. I have a Google Slides version, which I'm not going to show you. It's pretty simple, basically a question and an answer. I have been pivoting a lot to this program called Genially, trying to switch almost all of my games over to there. And you can see here is basically my one slide, my one page that has all the questions that I need. And I've got them grouped in 5. So across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to ask those 5 questions, and then kids are then going to answer them. So it'll go simply like this. I'm going to click on number 1. This is how Genially works. All this has been programmed. All you got to do is copy and paste the stuff. So I click on here, and it says, hey, this is a Civil War game we're playing, let's say. Hey, what was the turning point in the Civil War? This battle took place, and there was casualties. What was the name of the battle? Okay, and then I say, all right, kids, write down your answers. And then they're quietly writing down their answers. Now, you got to be careful. There's a lot of whispering, loud whispering, and wandering eyes. So I have them really emphasize, hey, write it, cover it up, flip it over. All right, correct answer, everybody, is Civil War, right? And then I click on the answer button and Civil War comes up. Now I could pivot this. I could just do question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then do the answers at the end. Your choice. In the upper right hand corner, when I click on the X, it goes away and I see that question's gone and I can go to the next one. By the way, you could turn this up to, it's completely, you don't have to go in order. You could say, hey, pick another one. Tommy, pick one. 27, great. Hey, question number 27. Anyway, I just got these first 5 of them done. You can see you can have multiple choice questions. Here's a true-false question. Ooh, you can add pictures and media in there. You can do whatever you want with these questions. You're like, oh, that's, I don't know who this person is. Abraham Lincoln? I don't know. Correct answer is, no, that's you, Grant. I got that one wrong. Anyway, once you finish all 5 of those questions, then what you're going to do is if you go back and look at this example that I've done, this kid answered yes, or not what they not what they answered, but if they got them right or wrong, or yes or no. So I got yes, yes. They got number 3 wrong. Yes, yes. So that got them 4 points. And then I got one other thing, because after I played this game for a while, I realized that you do need some more shooting. You have to have a lot of shots because Battleship, there's a lot. So instead of just question, answer, or question for a shot, I added some bonuses. And so take a look at this here. If I click on the attack card, big sound effect, chong, and all of a sudden now you have an extra bonus shots. Everybody gets this. This is just a free, easy equalizer. It gives more shots out. So if I go to my paper, everybody, hey, fill that one out, like, hey, bonus shots. I'm gonna say, okay, there was 3 on there or whatever. Now add them all up and you say, okay, I got 7 shots. The pair that I'm playing against, how many did you guys got? You got 8? All right, and then we start shooting. And that's it. On the bottom down there, I have a little thing called a shot counter, and that's just a way to keep track of how many I've done. Okay, because am I on number 3 or number 4? Like, I don't remember. And so that's a way to be able to kind of do a check off. And so that's the sheet or whatever. And so that's how the question's done. That's all part 1. But like, don't you want to play the game? Yes, I do. We got to get out of here, Ryan. Get over. Let's start playing the game a little bit. Okay, so the way in which the game is played is here. This is what I have built. Like I said, using vibe coding and to be able to create this on my own. I'm really excited about it. So the part 1 is this. You do this before you even give questions. You tell everybody, have you ever seen the game Battleship? I'm assuming you have. Maybe you want to give a little review for those who haven't. Anyway, so you have 5 ships and they have different sizes. So you're going to need to click on which ship that you want to be able to place on your grid. I'm going to click on the first one, which is the aircraft carrier. It says it's going to take 5 cells. And if I hover my mouse over, you can see it's going to take up any of these 5 in green. Now, it is all horizontal, and it says it right there, orientation horizontal. If I want to change that, I click the orientation button, and now it's vertical. Hey, good. So now I have the opportunity to rotate one direction or another. So I'm gonna hide this one in the upper left-hand corner. Shh. Now, what one do I want to do next? You don't have to do them in order. You can click any one you want. I want the sub to be horizontal, and I'm going to hide that right there. And I continue to do this for the rest of them. Okay, my tiny little patrol boat there. If I don't like any of them, I can just click on one of them and it'll erase it and go back, because some kids like, oh, I didn't like that one. Well, just click on the boat, okay? And then it goes away, and then you can be able to hide it and put it over another place that you want. Once I'm done, both groups look at each other. Are you both ready? We're ready. So click on Start Battle. Now, this is what they have. By the way, definitely tell them, they do not show what's on their Chromebook to the other person. Now my ships are locked on the right-hand side. I can't change them at all. And I have this open along with my piece of paper, and then the teacher starts asking some questions. And so we do our questions, and I got my thing here, and I'm like, okay, we're done with 5. All right, how many did you guys get? You got 8, like we got 7. Okay, so fire away. And that's when you just let the class go. And you go back to the image that I had here earlier, of you as a teacher, which is now you just stand and watch the kids fire. Some will go a little bit faster than others. So when some of them are done, they ask, like, hey, what do we do now? You're like, just wait, we got the next set of 5 questions once everybody wraps up. And so how do we then shoot? So if we go back to my board over here, you can tell them, hey, decide who's going to go first. They can do rock, paper, scissors. All right, I'm going to go first. And then I simply just call out a coordinate. Hey, you guys, is it B2? And they'll look at theirs and say, is there anything in B2? And they'll say hit or miss. And if they say miss, you can see my directions. Click once is a white little icon, and that is a miss. Then the other person says, I'm going to go F3. And I look on my ship. F3 is a miss. Now, I don't have to keep track over here. You can if you want. But traditionally in the game, you don't have to. And then it's back to me. B9? Hit. Like, oh, okay. Now if I click it once, it's white. If I click it twice, it turns red. Now the other person's turn. G4? That's a hit. Okay. If I click it once and click it twice, it turns red. So I just need to generally, the one I have to do on my ships is I got to keep track of the hits. If I want to keep track of the other ones, we can. And this just goes back and forth, back and forth. It's going to take a while to get to actually start sinking some ships. Once we're done with those, hey, I'm all done with mine. Some group may have more than others, so they may have extra shots at the end. Because if I only had 6 and the other group had 9, they still got to get theirs done. And then once we're done, we move on to the next 5 questions. And that's the process. 5 questions and attack. 5 questions and attack. And go. That's it. Question. Yes, what's the question? When's the game over? Good question. And so I don't want to be able to have this finish at different times. And so I don't play for it. The game is over once one team has taken defeated all because sank all one other team's ships, is because that may be a difference of time. So generally, I have set this up and played it several times. And I look back here, and it's about 30 questions. So basically, that's what I'm telling them. We're doing 30 questions. When these questions are done, or whatever you want, 20 questions, doesn't matter. When I'm done with all the questions, then the game is over. So even though we haven't sank all the ships, and you're like, well, how does that work out? Great question. So now we're going to flip over to the back of this piece of paper. If I flip over to the back of the piece of paper, you're going to see on this answer sheet how I do the scoring on this. And so basically, they're going to flip over and they're going to scroll down a little bit and say, hey, how many ships did you hit? How many red hits did you have? And they're going to write on that answer like, okay, I got a total of 6 on that one. You're like, okay, only had 6 hits. All right. Sorry, change that. No, I'm going to keep track of how many correct answers I got first. That's right, I forgot, folks, because I want to reward them for their correct answers. So in the game, however many that we got, out of 30, let's say I got 21 correct answers. Nice job. All right, so I'm going to take that number 21, and then I'm going to add that to the number of hits. So I got, like I said, 6 hits. Okay, I'm going to give the value of hitting a ship double, so that's going to be, it says times 2, so I'm going to say 6 times 2, and that's going to be 12. Okay, all right, so there I go. I got 21 plus 12, and then you're like, wait a second, now I got a bonus. Did you sink any ships? And if you sank any ships, you can see that what I have there. I can say, hey, if you sank the aircraft carrier, it's the easiest because it's big. That's 4, and the tiny little patrol boat's hard to be able to get, so that's a bonus 8. So let's say I sunk the aircraft carrier. Then I'm just simply going to add those up. So I got 21 plus 12 plus 4, which gives me my grand total of 37. How many did you get, Tommy, and your team? They got, like, we got 41. Like, yay, you're the winner. And folks, there's Battleship for you. Now, what's kind of neat is that you don't have one winner. You're going to have lots of winners. Okay, there's a lot of teams that are playing, and so at every, you're basically going to have, look at this, if you got all of these pods that are broken up, and there's partner up, so people are playing, because the kids are going to always ask, what were we playing for? So you better have an answer, because you're not just one kid like, oh, that's right, I'll get you next time. You have a lot of kids who are ultimately going to win, which makes this game tons of fun, is because you have multiple winners, you have a balance of skill versus luck involved in there, and I hope you have a fun time playing the thing. Please give it a check out, and if you can, leave it a review or give a thumbs up or wherever you see it on social medias or on my TPT site, and I'd love to be able to hear back on this one. Folks, I hope you get a fun time playing this thing. This is Battleship, and I'm Ryan, the Game Show Guy.